now this week, here on the Midlands anyway. Right, we gave you part one of yesterday's chronic housing crisis from 2013 to 2025 and what three of the past Department of Housing ministers did and didn't do. Today we'll give you a continuation and we'll call it part two, which will be posted in the comments section of part one, which was yesterday. So we're going to go on to Owen Murphy, the one that replaced Tim, the one that replaced Simon Cafferty, then the one that replaced Murphy, and we'll bring you to the current Housing Department, the Minister for the Department of Housing, guys. What they done and what they didn't do. Well, thanks Karen for tuning in. Owen Murphy and the rate of increasing homelessness. The Dublin-based South TD Owen Murphy was stressed out by the job and left. Ambushed by colleagues after his early ambitions to address the housing crisis hit a brick wall. Murphy claims he wanted a right to housing enshrined in the Constitution. But it is a right, folks, to be for everybody to be accommodated. But the way this country is growing, for fuck's sake, how could you house them all? But our own Irish citizens are suffering as a result. Owen Murphy claimed he wanted a right to housing enshrined in the Constitution, but his efforts failed when he was overruled by Cabinet colleagues. Other proposals aimed at speeding up the delivery of homes and public housing were also derailed, he claimed in his memoir. Larkin Soar, lecturer on housing in Trinity University, Dublin, says Murphy was a genuinely nice fellow who was swamped in the murky mire that housing is in Ireland. His idea of repurposing NAMA, the state's bad bank, from the recession area as the nation's house builder was seen as too risky. The dogs on the street know that at this stage, guys. As his desire to declare the housing crisis an emergency, enabling him to fast-track certain measures, was also rejected. Murphy believed that radical measures to tackle the housing crisis were bedeviled by financial conservatism. As he wrote after serving his term in the ministry, the fear that I had for our new government. But folks, there's never been a new government in Ireland since 1933. It's all been predominantly Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael. And until citizens take it upon themselves to do something about uncounted votes exiting polling stations after voting hours, there will be no change in Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael heavily involved with the Irish government. As Murphy wrote after serving his term in the ministry, the fear that I had for our new government, that we would soon be captured by the system, had happened to him. He admitted that he became the subject of hilarity after he said, "The rate of increase is decreasing in response to rising homelessness numbers." But folks, it never decreased once it started, because it's truth is unknown. Known to the public. There's got to 17,000 homeless at the moment. Top that up with another 20,000 odd hidden homeless around the country, folks. Gives you a total homelessness of Ireland in excess of 40,000 homeless. Murphy confessed to being flummoxed by some of the local problems faced by ministers in his duty. On one occasion, Murphy was contacted when a wastewater pipe burst close to a scouts camp somewhere in Tipperary. He was nonplussed to be told there's a river of shite heading for the minister. Dara O'Brien, and who'll never forget him because he fucking bluffer if there ever was one. Murphy was overburdened with stress in the job and quit politics entirely after the 2020 election, later suggesting that he needed to leave office when the homelessness figures went above 10,000. Thanks guys for tuning in. By the time of the last election campaign, a year ago, as he prepared to move out of housing portfolio, the fifth housing minister, Dara O'Brien, was trying to deal with homelessness figures of over 14,000. So it went from 3,500 in 20 now, which is well over 16,000. Although he expressed concern in contrast to the beleaguered Murphy, O'Brien seemed breezy and unrun by the demands of the job. We have rolled up our sleeves and got things done that needed to be done, he said on the campaign trail. One housing analyst likened his up-tempo manner to that of a second-hand car salesman. The third big housing crisis plan was launched by O'Brien in the autumn of 2021 with the objective that every citizen in the state should have access to a good quality home. Housing for all set out targets for each year, and O'Brien would boast that he annually hit the targets for home completions in 2022 and 2023. Despite widespread scepticism, Dara O'Brien repeatedly stated during the election campaign that home completions for 2024 would hit 40,000. Today, guys, it hits 40,000 in Ireland. Would be a great day, but that day will never come. And this year, the number of homes built is expected to fall well short of the Housing for All target, which is 41,000. O'Brien and his coalition partners could boast that they increased housing output from a recession low of about 5,000 to 30,000. Homelessness wouldn't have increased to the extent that it has, guys, if we had a right fucking government, and that's where the whole problem is. Their priority the last couple of years, and you would be fools not to see it, are immigrants. If couples goes, or even a single person goes into a county council, they are pawned off and to find alternative accommodation with no help or assistance from local county councils. Yet if Tom and Jimmy from a non-European country, or Mary from a non-European country goes in, they will be accommodated before that evening. Mr. Invisible, James Brown, dons the hard hat and green high-vis jacket. The latest minister, James Brown, donned the hard hat and green high-vis jacket as he joined the Taoiseach in launching the latest big plans, which is delivering homes, building communities this week. That was last week, guys. Launching it is grand. Doing something about it is another. Unlike his predecessors, Brown could pass unnoticed in a crowd, as he is by far the most anonymous minister since the job was given a full cabinet ranking a decade ago. Larkin Saur, the lecturer on housing in Trinity University, Dublin, says that Brown is a low-key personality thrust into a high-key portfolio. He's not sure that you can be an invisible minister in a portfolio where people get reassurance from visibility. So he's avoiding that visibility, guys. So you know yourself what's on the cards. There'll be SFA done and housing over the coming years. They will, yes, they will tell you that they're doing this, that and the other, approaching future elections. But folk, that's only a publicity stunt. Darrell O'Brien always looked as if he was doing something, even if he was wrong. Brown was plucked from relative obscurity and appointed to the brief as his first senior ministerial role. Thrown in the deep end, guys. He is believed to have impressed Taoiseach Micheál Martin during his time as a junior minister in the Department of Justice, and he should have been left there, guys, where he pushed through gambling legislation, resisting heavy lobbying from the betting industry. But early in his time as housing minister, there were grumbles from members of his own party, reported that he was not visible and was not communicating to the public. But folks, they will only communicate with the public with the bullshit that they have become renowned for. So unless you see it happen with your own two eyes and see it being put into effect, believe nothing from these, because they are born spoofers. Brown, who's a barrister, was first elected to the Dáil in 2016, maybe the most reticent and anonymous of all the ministers. He has been prepared to make extravagant promises. But again, folks, making extravagant promises and not carrying them out is very easy said. It's another day's work to do it. He has pledged in his latest plan that 300,000 homes will be delivered in the next 6 years. And 10 days ago he told the media at a housing event in Skerries, County Dublin, that he aimed to fix the crisis in the next few years. He believes that can be done, he said confidently. But given the past record of ministers, continuing population growth, this latest pledge has been greeted with more skepticism. Can such a fast solution be found in such a short period? Trinity College economist Ronan Lyons says it all depends on what you mean by solving the crisis. But folks, enough of the cases with these Department of Housing ministers is top civil servants overrule them and walk away from them. To Ronan Lyons, a resolution would mean addressing the underlying housing deficits. In other words, people living as they choose to live. If you are stuck at home with your parents and you want to live by yourself or with your partner, you can. That to him is that solving the housing deficit looks like. That's what it is, folks, because young ones today, in a lot of cases, they're back living with mommy and daddy. Because due to high rents, everything else, this country is fucked for Ireland's youth. And my advice to every Irish youth is, once you're done with your college years, get out of this country for a couple of years, put your head to the grinding stone, make a few pounds, and then return home, because you'll never do it otherwise in Ireland, due to what's attempting to govern Ireland since 1933, and we can go back earlier than that, because Ireland always had a hidden government of top civil servants, top Gardaí, top chief Gardaí, and political advisors govern this country. Politicians are only spokespeople for them, folks. If you train the parrot to do the same as the politicians do, the parrot would do as politicians have always done through the decades. If you are stuck at home with your parents and you want to live by yourself or with your partner, you can. That, to Ronan Lyons, is what solving the housing deficit looks like. But that won't be done in 2, 3, 4 or 5 years. In Ronan Lyon's opinion, it's going to take 15 or 20 years, and Ronan Lyons is absolutely right, until the citizens of this country realise, and the sooner they realise it, all the better, because folks, we are becoming second-class citizens in our own country. Due to the hidden government of Ireland and their spokespeople, which are your county councillors, TDs, MEPs and senators, the salaries that them guys are on, under no severe pressure from the citizens of Ireland, that should be all overhauled and reformed. In fact, Ireland in full needs to be overhauled. Its political, justice, legal system needs to be overhauled and reformed after a century, guys. Because otherwise we are fighting a losing battle if we don't stand up and defend and protect ourselves from what's the hidden government of Ireland and their spokespeople, which are your county councillors, TDs, senators, MEPs. And as I said, if you train the parrot the way they are trained, the parrot would do the same amount. It would do the same job at an awful lot less cost. Right, guys, enjoy your weekend. Yes, guys, thanks for coming in on this video. And no, I never asked you to like, share or subscribe, but I would love if you've done it. But I will never ask you to do it, but you would receive more content then every time we do a video. Yes, Ireland is in bits, guys, but it's up to us citizens to put the jigsaw puzzle back that is Ireland, and as went seriously wrong in the latter end after a century of Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael practically govern it, along with the hidden government of Ireland. Right, guys, as I said, enjoy your weekend, stay safe and healthy.